Today we're going to look at Arthur B. Davies, who was born in 1862 and he lived till 1929. He was 66 years old when he died. He was on vacation in Italy and I think he had a heart attack there. Um, so he was born in Utica, New York, and he was had an amazing ability, drawing ability by the age of 10. He could paint like incredible realistic stuff. Um, he saw a show when he was young, when he was 15, by George Innes, the well-known tonalist landscape painter who I always loved, which makes sense because he was kind of a tonalist, like Whistler, was a tonalist, this kind of very subdued, atmospheric, um, kind of mystical, you know, look. Um, then his family relocated to Chicago for a while. It was only like, I'm not sure how many years he was there, but he ended up back in New York. He did study at the Art Institute of Chicago briefly, but he ended up at the Art Students League in New York. He married Virginia Merriweather in 1892. She was the New York State's first female physician, or one of the first female doctors. Her family didn't trust this young aspiring artist that they made him sign a prenuptial agreement that he wouldn't be entitled to any of her money in the event of a divorce. Now, Virginia had already, unbeknownst to unbeknownst to Arthur, had killed her first husband, who
Wow.
was
Oh
a
my God.
drug addict and
Oh my
compulsive
God.
gambler.
Oh my God.
This is just part of the weirdest story.
Oh my
How did she
God.
do it
How did she do it? He doesn't say.
and get away with it?
It was a secret.
Apparently.
It was a secret. Like her parents knew evidently, but she didn't ever tell him. Virginia and Arthur had two sons, and when Davies died in 1928, Virginia discovered that Arthur was a bigamist. He had he had another wife because he had a studio in New York City, but they had Virginia's family was in upstate, so he would go to the city and come back up there on the weekends. When he was in the city, he had hired this model, Edna, and she was 15 years younger. She was a dancer, and she was his model. They ended up getting married secretly, and they had this one child. This was a secret to everybody. Only a few people knew that were close to him for like 28 years or something like that. And he was not very social, and people thought, oh, he's always working. No, he had this other family going on, and it was a secret. So then, um, 25 years, it was a secret. Um, and by the time he was in his late 30s, he was already well known, selling his work. In his 40s, in the 1920s, he was one of the most well known and artists in New York City. he was selling his work for a lot of money. And it's just, it's kind of mind-blowing. Like if when you look at his work, you think this guy was one of the most famous artists of his day, yet he's pretty much forgotten now. And but what were those people thinking of? I think those people in the 1920s were way ahead of us. They were way, I mean, Agnes Pelton, she was popular.
Mm.
Okay, so he was influenced by Corot, Malay, also by um, Albert Pinkham Ryder, the American artist that we looked at. You may not remember him, did these very dark, mystical paintings. I always loved him. Oh, and then he became the president of the American Artists Association, I think it was called. Uh, and that was in 1912. Also, I forgot to mention in 1908, there was the group called the Eight, and they were these eight New York City painters: Robert Henry, John Sloan, uh, Maurice Prendergast. They were all really good painters, and they put on their own show in rebellion against the Academy, similar to what was happening in Paris,
Mm.
with the Favs and everything. Well, these guys, they put on their own show. It was a success, and they were all real kind of, well, most of them were more realist social scene painters. Now, but really Arthur B wasn't he was a realist, but he wasn't about the New York City scene, and neither was Maurice Prendergast, so they were a little bit different. So then in 1912, in 1906, he painted Unicorns, which is probably his most famous painting. It's at the Met in New York. And in 1912, he became president of this association, and he was the principal organizer of the Armory show in 1913. He was the principal organizer of this huge show. He went to Europe. He met the artists. He bought all this art back. He became a huge art collector. He
Mm.
had an incredible collection that was sold for, in today's value, 1.8 million dollars upon his death.
Wow.
And it was worth a lot more than that. I mean, if you look at what he had today, it would be worth way more than that. Anyways, I think. So being this, he was very astute, he was very smart, he understood all the new trends, he was a fan of all the modernist trends. So much so that these huge collectors like um, Abby Rockefeller, Mary Sullivan, these were the big collectors, and he was showing them what to buy. And because of him, the initial collection for the Museum of Modern Art had a lot to do with him
Mm.
because he was teaching these people what to buy. He was creating this. And he was deeply inspired by dance, and he was also a sculptor. He also helped a lot of artists who were down and out and who were struggling. Um, so He was into theosophy. Um, hey, can you see it?
Yes.
There he is. Not many pictures of him, and not many not many quotes of his, which is really strange. He did write on art some, but I couldn't find any quotes of his. Um, Now, this piece I didn't get the date on, and so I just put it in the beginning. It is totally unlike anything we're going to look at because basically it's a cityscape, but it's a really beautiful piece, and it's incredible the effects he was getting from this gouache and ink technique. Um, and you can see how highly developed he was as a artist. Kind of, he was also an illustrator, so early on, that's how he was making his living before he made it as a painter. Um, really, and even even in this piece, I see this. There's just something spiritual about it. There's something, I don't know. Maybe I'm just influenced by his other work, but I really think there's something. Look how these buildings are going at an angle this way, and then this way they're going out. And he's got that Zeppelin up there. Like, it's so cool. Oh my God. So, okay. Okay, now here we go. Some of the early work, dark, you know. Wonder if it was really that dark. I wonder if the varnish has aged. Um, could be.
Yeah.
Oh, and this one, you see this figure like in this ecstatic, dance kind of pose. That's got to be straight out of
Oh.
Saint Denis and Isadora Duncan.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
Yeah. And yeah, this dark, the frieze, the long, narrow, um, composition. Um, and she's kind of almost suspended in midair, which you see, you're going to see that again.
So different from the ballet dancers that were in all the art of the time, Degas ballet
Oh,
dancers and,
yes, that's right.
it's such
Quite,
a different body posture for that dancer.
yeah, that's right. This is not ballet, this is modern dance. And modern dance, very affected by, I think, theosophy and all that stuff that was happening
Yeah.
at the time. Um,
Did you say, was that before or after Isadora Duncan?
During,
Okay, the same time.
yeah,
But
Uh-huh.
also the title of that was Dirge in spring, which is
yes,
like, like everybody's mourning a death, I think. And I think I'm seeing these dancers as expressing that
yeah, that's
anguish.
yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah,
Well, the thing about that's so different too about the modern dance is the way they held their arms and hands.
Yeah.
When they
yeah.
did, because I took a lot of ballet, unfortunately, but it's like, there was so much emphasis on your hands being a certain way, and it's like they kind of let go of all that. They
Mm.
were kind of like, like us with like, you don't have to do what all the other, you know, the
Well, also he was quite influenced by the antiquities, especially the Greek and Roman
Oh yeah.
Greek
Yeah.
and Roman pottery and just all of the poses of the nude females and the Greek work, and he had theories about that too. He was actually into interested in yoga and um the sun salutation was something he was quite interested in. The breath, he had angina, so this inhaling, he thought was a healing thing for him. And yeah, he um, shy as a rabbit. So if you remember those early Agnes Pelton paintings, you can see the relationship to his work. Um, Mount Tamalpais
Oh,
looks like the view from, you know,
wow.
no Marin County there. Um,
Mm.
yeah, this piece I'd never seen. It's at the Art Institute of Chicago, of course. They probably never put it up, but it's a really beautiful painting.
Yeah, wow.
Oh.
And so you can see in 1915 already, he's starting to use some of the Cubist stuff. Like, look at her body, the way he's broken it up. Um, so he's getting now really influenced by the Europeans.
I had a funny thought. It's like his two wives kind of thing.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't think of that. Um, Actually, she's quite like masculine looking in a way, very strong.
Uh-huh. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at those shoulders and arms.
Yeah, geez. Uh, and this bull, like, and it's a sacramental tree.
Mm.
It's just so, he was just a master designer, colorist. Like,
Huh.
this whole area is just incredible. Like, this this thing here and little patterning there.
It
Mm.
just seems really original in some kind of way.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think he was taking the modernists, modern Parisian stuff and applying it in his own way. He got criticized for that too,
Mm.
Of course.
of
Yeah.
course, right? Yeah, this is just really cool. Here's the unicorn's legend Seacom, which evidently is his like most well-known piece. I'd never seen it myself, I don't think, but looks like there's four unicorns. Um,
Wow.
it does have this incredible feel to it, like that still water and the white unicorns and the white maiden, and again, there's the two women.
It's surprising that that's not a more famous piece. It seems like you would see it. It's so unusual. I mean,
Yeah, and
unicorns are so popular.
I know. I couldn't find a good reproduction of it. This is the best one I could find. And it's at the Museum of the Met in New York. It's really mystical. I wish we could see it better, but you know, I love this. It's like dark.
20 years.
Yeah, it could be like um
I own one that looks kind of like that.
I love you can't really even make out what's happening. It's a little flame there or something.
Hmm.
Homage to the ocean. So it's like there are these modern dancers out there, you know? And it's all about homage, like prayer. And this again, I think the reason why people like this were basically erased from art history
Why?
because it was about prayer.
Oh,
It was about spirituality.
huh.
Um, this pose with the arm outstretched is something that I was seeing. At first I thought that's weird, but then as I looked at these Ruth St. Denis pictures, I could see that it was part of her thing, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, because it's called the dancers.
yeah.
What's
She's oddly off,
interesting,
she's oddly off balance too. Like
I
kind of,
think the dresses are a really important part of the impression we get from these women or girls. You know, the dresses just add this whole other level of frilliness.
Oh, uh-huh.
yeah. And so Duncan Phillips was a big collector, uh, and Arthur helped him with his collection, which is one of the great American collections. And there's the two women. Now that
Right.
Barcott said that, I can't get rid of it.
But guess what? There's also two deer.
You
There's
mean, well, they're
Oh no,
goats.
there's more. They're goats.
They're
Okay,
goats.
because I was thinking maybe there's a theme
No,
with
there's
two.
five that I
There's yeah,
see,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and maybe six, somebody back there or two. But it's again like a very abstracted landscape. Um, and interesting how he did the bodies of these women. They're nude, but they're actually Sheila almost looks like she's wearing
Yeah,
a dance leotard,
yeah.
you
That's what
know?
they did with the modern dance kind of things, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at their faces.
mm,
Wow.
why do you suppose the title is Dewdrops?
I don't know.
It makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
I like the background a lot, the way he did the woods or the trees.
Yeah, me too.
Isn't that interesting? It's like I
Mhm.
would like to have that freedom.
Yeah, the colors are great.
Yeah, the look on their faces, it's like this awake kind of astonishment or wonder, or they're kind of half human, half goddess. Like it's
Mhm.
it's uh I don't know. It's just very evocative.
Yeah.
He was also a muralist. Um, he also, like Puvis de Chavannes, was a big influence. Also, they say Odilon Redon was an influence.
And sort of those Klimt like circles, covering the women, that looks very Klimt.
Ruth Saint Denis, there's that hand arm gesture.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, and look at her outfit.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Now, this pose, especially, I see running through his work.
mhm.
And this is kind of your, I think kind of a famous pose of that day, like
Uh-huh.
celebration in nature. But they're also really well loved. So,
Uh-huh.
okay, so this is his piece called Avatar.
Wow.
Um, and I read a little bit about it, and what they said was it seems that these foreground figures they're dark, they're struggling, they're kind of lost or something. And then these midground figures are kind of like, another realm, another level of reality or something. And then you have others back there. You've got, the more refined, heavenly realm or something. Um, can't make out what's going on back there, but then there's this isolated androgynous figure, and you see quite a few of those.
Huh.
Not so much, everybody else looks very female, except in the front, there's male figures. But, if you're just looking at the whole thing, it looks like a dance performance.
Mm-hmm. Like, or kind of almost operatic in some kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so much about nature and the word avatar means a a human that is divine and a divine incarnation. That's what an avatar is, at least from like the uh, Indian view.
Gosh, this stuff is so different.
Yeah, this high contrast is
Yeah.
it's really interesting.
Well, and the thing of using like the cows are so realistic. I mean, kind of normal life. And then you've got this person in the front who's completely, mystical, mysterious person praying or whatever they're doing. The two together is what's so, to me, really different.
Yeah, I know, I love it. It's like
Yeah.
uh and there's people back there doing their own
Oh,
dance.
yeah.
Right?
Their ritual or something. It's like,
Like I think it's like they're doing yoga back there.
oh,
No, seriously.
Maybe.
Um,
yeah, or
Your
they're, or
fun
else,
salutation.
yeah. I'm
and she's doing her own thing there.
I feel like they're doing like it's like witchcraft or something almost. It's like calling up, spiritual energy. It's far out, whatever it is.
This looks like one of those menorahs.
Huh.
there. And there's a figure here down
Oh
here.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Like it's the fireflies, but it's also the moonlight.
Oh.
Oh, it's strong moonlight.
Oh yeah.
and her gesture of amazement is really,
Isn't it
subtle
beautiful?
and really beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. I just love that's great
Mhm.
Yeah.
to see fireflies. It's so magical.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's like it captures some kind of her mood, huh?
Mhm.
Whoa.
She's
So, okay,
always
now he was experimenting with doing these more cubist oriented pieces from 19, maybe 1913 to 1918.
Wow.
And then he stopped.
Ah,
But this is a knockout painting,
I love
Yeah.
that.
isn't it?
Oh,
Like,
really? Yeah.
Favorite.
That's fantastic.
Wow.
It's such a different use of cubism.
yeah, well, Mr. Davies takes his cubism lightly, quote. A sympathetic critic wrote in 1913, acknowledging a view held then and now that Davies' Cubist-inspired paintings have an elegant appeal, but are not in the more rigorous or authentic spirit of Cubism as practiced by Picasso, Braque, and Renoir in Greece.
Yeah.
by the way, I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, like
I like it.
hooray for him. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not formulaic.
yeah,
I love it.
Oh, and it's flow. It's amazing to see the combination of cubism and flowing.
Mhm.
yeah, it's like he wasn't giving up his other stuff. He was kind of bringing that together.
Yeah.
It's because it's that prayerful dance.
Hmm.
Interesting palette, just white and black, and this guy's got a little blue saddle on his donkey, but other than that,
Hmm.
I don't even know what he's doing there.
Yeah.
You wonder if he finished this one, like
Oh, God, it looks like a
who
lot of work.
knows? Still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now this one is another like masterwork.
Wow.
It's just like the colors, that high red there, and I don't know, it's just so cool.
Yeah. If you squint, it's interesting just to look at it as forms in a way. It's
Yeah,
the different spaces. It's pretty complicated.
yeah, it's really an amazing composition. And it's curious, like she has a dress on, and then everybody else is nude except
Oh, huh,
he's got this cloak.
huh.
I wonder if that's him down in the corner there.
Yeah, he's got a face whereas most others don't really.
Hmm. Ooh.
It feels like this one and the one before feel like a dance class in an art studio. So you're blending two medium.
Mm, yeah, there's a lot of rhythm. Yeah, a lot of movement, rhythm. Wow. So elegant. Davies is uncannily detached from the conventions of orderly narrative, devices or broad tendencies of a school. He leans on no recognizable master in his
Yeah.
treatment of the figure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
seems true.
This looks like an earlier piece, like around 1910 or 12 again.
Gosh, again, I'm so aware of like that green, the negative spaces in his work.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he used shape is pretty amazing for me. I don't know why I'm so aware of it compared to other people.
Well, again, it's high contrast,
Uh-huh.
with that bright sky and then
Sure.
everybody else is dark.
But a lot of them, even without the like this one, the green is bright, but just his use of shape seems very sophisticated.
Yeah, and also I'm reminded of Maxfield Parrish because he did that similar
Oh,
contrast business,
oh, uh-huh.
So yeah, I think there's a connection.
Wow.
All these little girls, they're all in their own space. They're all in their
Mm.
own world,
Huh.
but they're kind of together, but they're not. It's really cool. Like they're sovereign. They're individual souls
Mhm.
wandering through this crowded landscape with the
Mm.
cows.
Oh, wow.
It's
Uh,
I also feel like there's probably only 3 or 4 models to use for these.
yeah,
They all have really super familiar, I mean, similar,
yeah,
uh,
yeah. He
characteristics.
did a lot of figure drawing, and he was very prolific.
wow. That one's really like Maxwell Parrish. Like,
Except it's more crude in a way,
the
like,
light. I'm thinking of the light.
yeah,
Very striking.
Mhm.
yeah.
Very striking.
Yeah. Huh. Wow.
Yeah, it's like he was doing all these figure studies and then he just like would throw them into a painting all together
Yeah.
to like have fun with it.
I mean, like, if you didn't see that they were people, it would still be just so interesting.
Yeah, yeah. All these angles and so this is back, 1914 to 17 in that period. He abandons this and goes back to his earlier mode.
Huh.
I love this one. It's all these figures on the ground, like merging with the earth, kind of, and
Looking at Arthur.
Kind of disturbing.
really
Mhm.
not a good reproduction. Do you know why, Jennifer?
Yeah, it's these prostate figures in the front.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking about World War I and
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
doesn't look like a real, I don't know.
Well, I think it's probably because those positions wouldn't be very natural. Uh, you know, So they could be aching or ailing or dying, right? That's why I could see the disturbing side. But
Yeah,
on the other hand, it's also sort of melting with the landscape.
Right, could be that.
Now, that's an interesting, Joan, what you said about
Hmm.
they could be like dying or, but to me, my impression was they're praying more like praying.
Kind of ecstasy.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's could be seen
you
that
don't
way.
know. Yeah. Now the title of this is Freshness of the Wounded, 1917. Very enigmatic.
he was sure into people.
People and color and form,
Yeah.
movement, really wonderful, like constructions. There's a few of his prints, and he did a lot of prints, and these are just amazing. Uh,
It's cool. I like this process.
yeah,
Wow.
I love the way he's using the dappled light that's moving through in such an interesting way.
Hmm.
I'm just thinking, when I was younger, I used to do stuff a lot like this.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me of you.
When I was like in arts, after art school, and but this is amazing. Like the
Yeah.
shading is just so beautiful.
Huh.
And he didn't give you too much. He like some of them don't have faces.
Huh.
And like this, I love how he made them all one,
Oh,
one
yeah.
form like the goddess with many
Yeah.
arms and many legs. Well, only one arm, but many legs.
And hair.
It's so cool.
Cool.
Yeah, that's really,
I like the ocean
yeah.
behind the way
Yeah.
he used this particular aquatint process.
Uh,
Really cool.
Yeah. Huh.
this, I believe, is a lithograph. Um, whoops. Just
Does it say?
no, but I remember reading about it. I couldn't get the info more than that. So
I love lithography.
it's so cool how they're all to one side and just
Yeah.
the wave over here.
Well, the way the ocean is so unusual and simple and
Yeah, really.
reduced to black and white kind of thing, huh?
Leaves at the gates. So this is a color lithograph.
Huh.
Hmm. That looks like it says 1923, but here it says 19 to 20. These people are looking a little bit more real than
Yeah.
these usual people. But
Less,
these people are like flying.
Yeah.
they're not, they don't look like dancers quite as much. A little bit flying.
Look how she's got her hands there. That's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Huh.
Hmm.
That's like a statue kind of posture.
So amazing, this artist just kind of disappeared from public favor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no books in the Sonoma library system about him at all.
Oh,
Oh,
I,
Not even a mention.
yeah. Part of it had to do with, as I mentioned, the spiritual part, but also because he was a bigamist.
yeah.
That was a no-no. So that's part of it too, I think. His friend Alfred Stieglitz, patron to many modern artists, regarded Davies as more broadly knowledgeable about contemporary art than anyone he knew.
Wow.
This is a really cool one, but it's not a good reproduction. And there's those goats again
Wow.
that they've just taken over now. Gotten rid of the people pretty much.
One person, one little person.
Yeah.
at least one, right? It's hard to tell.
Uh, and 1920, still got that cubism stuff going somewhat. Wow. Okay, these are some of his smaller watercolors that he did, and he did a lot of these.
Wow.
Um, and it looks like pastel and watercolor. So Jennifer, I was thinking of you.
I was looking for the pastel, or not much of it. Maybe
Oh,
just a
there's some there
little
and
bit.
here and the
Almost looks like,
white.
I bet it's pencil, pastel pencil. It's hard to
There-
get that fine of a point.
There's the blue line pastel.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's pencil.
yeah. But maybe he was using the pastel with the water to get some of these
Uh-huh. Could
effects.
be. Could be. That's a good guess. There's some more.
This is
Charcoal.
Mm.
gouache, charcoal,
Hmm.
watercolor.
Wow.
Hmm. I like that.
That's kind of a switch, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is just he was doing so much. He did everything. Like um yeah, he's got that pastel pencil or whatever going on there.
Charcoal.
This beautiful like watercolor. Yeah,
Mm.
very dreamy. So he's working on this dark gray green paper. Um, I liked I liked how he did that. He let the paper, like those pastel papers, you can get in different colors, and
Uh-huh.
he was good at using that.
That's a really nice use of pastel paper. Blue ink stamp verso.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
Me either.
But boy, that's really nice effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Well, that's
looks
so
like
different from before.
it looks like gouache there. Yeah.
Well, it's irresistible to play around with different mediums, I think. I can't. It is. It's just you can get so many interesting effects and mix them up in ways they're not supposed to be used, and they come out.
Yeah, again, I love the way he's letting that that paper colors show through, even though he tinted it.
I love just the little white renditions of
Yeah, that's so
perfect.
cool.
This is nice.
They look really fresh, like they didn't take them that long,
Yeah.
you know?
I just looked up ink stamp verso refers to an ink stamp located on the back of an object, such as a photograph or a piece of art.
Oh, so it's showing through, you think?
That's what that suggests, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
This is beautiful.
yeah.
Looks a bit like a Jennifer.
It does. It's like all of a sudden, wait a minute, now he's doing this stuff?
Yeah.
Right?
And the
Well,
pictures.
these were travel paintings, you know.
Mhm.
You know, he's only got four more, uh 2 more years.
Yeah, and he went off to Italy. Yay.
Yeah, 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 beautiful. Wow.
Was he ill at that point or?
I don't, you know, he did have this angina, so he did have like a heart issue.
Yeah.
So, you know, probably wasn't taking care of himself, doing too much artwork. But look at that sky, man. The whole thing is
So relaxing to look at this
gorgeous.
one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just easy, when you get to look at a landscape.
And so this is an oil, and it's just so beautiful.
Wow.
They're very peaceful.
It's so funny what a switch he made.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they said that he had more success doing his earlier style than he did with the more contemporary stuff he was doing in the teens.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So he gave that stuff up.
Mhm.
Um, but you can see how much he learned from the Europeans. Like
Yeah.
in this piece, like his abstractions are so beautiful
Mhm.
and lyrical and just really unique. Like this guy he's a modern master. I don't care like
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
they say, like
Or that they say nothing.
say nothing. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to find out more to this mystery.
Path. Yeah.
This one has very oriental feel about it to me.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I
Yeah, and
like the really warm with the really cool. The really warm mountain with the really cool, clearly very cool distance. Very
right.
blue versus the very yellow. It's interesting.
Oh yeah.
But
It's
to do it so specifically.
wow, just beautiful.
That one reminds me a little bit of Michael's paintings.
Oh yeah.
Michael Farrar?
Michael's Eve.
The
Oh,
Yeah, it reminds
yeah,
me of Michael as well.
totally. Yeah.
this is beautiful.
Yeah, it does remind me of yours, Michael.
Yeah, I really feel an affinity with him.
Uh-huh.
I think so.
And now these people are all like floating like in some kind of heaven realm.
Huh.
And here's that like androgynous girl. Um,
What's interesting about this painting is that the couple is really entranced with one another, where
yeah,
the other group paintings are all looking in different directions.
Oh,
yeah.
huh.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, I think there's just one more. Oh no, that's it. So he was 40 um 6 in this photo. Okay.
So he died early.
He died when he was 66. Oh man, you could live with one of his pieces on
Yeah,
your wall for sure.
yeah, and that's
It
what,
was,
like the European, like what you're saying, like someone can be super skilled and detail oriented, but it just doesn't hold my interest for that long. It's like,
remember Joseph Stella?
oh
You
yeah,
He was a big fan of Joseph Stella,
oh,
and he had some of his work.
whoa,
So he was a fan of all these people. He
oh,
had Brancusi's sculpture. I mean, which that reminds me of his faces. Those.
oh yeah, huh.
Anyways,
Very eclectic life, I think. And I think we all have one of those. And we're all kind of struggling with, that we've all chosen things like that for ourselves. And then we get older and we go, huh, you know, this is the this is the life I created. When did I decide to do that?
oh, love
Uh,
that.
I guess
the
Michael relates
landscapes
to
at
that
the
one.
end. I'm kind of
Oh,
maybe I should give Jennifer her moment. Sorry.
what were you saying?
I'm just thinking about the landscapes that they seem so within reach. Like I feel like each one of us could paint something fairly similar to that. It was so familiar to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was relaxing when we hit that part. And it was like, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
do that.